Hi, I'm West, and I love talking about the Astros, and I'm here to talk about Game 102 of the regular season. Astros win 8-6 in a very stressful game, which is very odd to say, and there's a lot to get into. Like, every once in a while, I'll make videos that are kind of shorter, and then there will be like a 3-day span where for some reason a lot's going on, and they're like 20-minute videos, and that's sort of what the last few days have been. This is going to be a long one, so I really just need to start talking about this. Apparently, the Mariners being so close to Canada, the niceness has rubbed off on them because they absolutely gifted the Astros a trade today. Around 5 or 6 p.m., when I was not paying attention to my phone, the Astros made a blockbuster trade, but not on our end. They acquired from the Seattle Mariners Kendall Graveman and Rafael Montero, which Montero is not great. He's basically Joe Smith. But, however, Kendall Graveman is having a ridiculously elite season, which is, I can't emphasize this enough. He's pitching out of his mind this year. .82 ERA, a 5.08 ERA plus, a whip of .6997. He's having a great year. And all you gave up is Toro and Joe Smith, which I genuinely don't know how you fleeced them that hard on that trade. Mariners fans, I can only imagine that you guys are beyond mad about that kind of trade because that's just bad. Like, you guys are finally starting to compete. I have no idea why the Mariners would give up their best relief pitcher and maybe the best relief pitcher in the American League this season. That is really just a complete head-scratcher. But, man, oh man, this is a fantastic trade. And given that Montero and Joe Smith are basically the exact same player, it's essentially Toro for Graveman straight up. Like, that's what it is. It's a ridiculously good trade for the Astros. A+ by James Click. Great first big acquisition of the deadline this year. Now, on top of that, Aledmys Diaz is back. He was in the lineup tonight. He had a pretty nice night. Yesterday's video did incredibly well, by the way. Nearing 800 views the last time I checked, which is very strange. I did not expect the fan base to, sort of raid my comments to be the Mariners. And I don't mean that as an insult, but, Mariners fans are kind of quiet. And I did not expect a lot of Mariners fans to, come up and chat about it. And credit to you guys, pretty much all of you guys, super respectful, super good conversations and back and forths. Continue to feel free to raid my comments. And on that note as well, 400 subscribers. That's awesome. 400 people. That's more than a room. Well, you couldn't. If you packed them all in very close and probably started a fire, you could probably fit them in this room. But that's ridiculous. That's almost a section of a baseball stadium. That's 400 of you guys have subscribed to me. That is so flattering. I need to stop just talking about stuff that didn't involve the game. On to the actual game for the evening. So, first inning, Yordan Alvarez, 3-run nuke, right? And I'm like, oh, cool, let's go. Wait a minute. You scored 6 runs yesterday in the first inning, and then you ended up losing that game. So you're not going to get any trust from me. And then, wouldn't you know it, bottom half of the first, Kyle Seager with a 2-run home run, and I'm not even shocked. I just kind of chuckled to myself because I'm like, yeah, this isn't ideal. This is just depressing. A little bit of silence by both teams through the second and fifth, from the second through the fifth. McCullers was fantastic. I'm going to talk about him a little bit later on. Fourth inning, the Astros get some more runs. Correa singles, Tucker strikes out, Diaz doubles. Straw then singles to make it a 5-2 ball game. Maldonado singles to make it a 6-2 ball game. Altuve doubles. Brantley strikes out. Wild pitch and Maldonado scores, which is kind of funny to see. That made it 7-2, and then Yuli grounds that to end it. In the fifth, Yordan would single, Tucker would double, Diaz would single to make it 8-2, and then after that, Straw would strike out and Maldonado would fly out to end that inning. And at that moment, you have a 6-run lead. Where have I seen a 6-run lead blown before? Let's put on our thinking caps, Astros fans. I'm pretty sure we can regale this because it was I'm not wearing a watch, but I don't need to. Less than 24 hours ago, It was yesterday, and you almost did it again tonight, but you didn't, so you're lucky there. Sixth inning comes up, and Lance just has a no good, not very fun time in the sixth. Allows a pair of runs, loaded the bases. It was a rough evening It was a rough evening overall for Lance McCullers. I think one thing that I will talk about right now and quickly, I think his splitter is too disgusting, right? I think there's too much movement on his splitter to me, to where I think it's getting to the point where he's having a much harder time controlling it. And so I think he might have to tone it back a little bit. I don't know if that's possible, but I think at this point, if it's going to be doing this much insane movement and right-handed sided run, I don't know that you can throw that as Lance McCullers, because it's a little bit out of control, to be honest with you. Again, I don't think he was terrible tonight. He got a ton of strikeouts. It was working for him, but he's giving up a few too many runs. Back-to-back games with 4 earned runs. That is not ideal. I'm not hitting the panic by any means. I'm not doing that yet. I'm not super concerned, but I am going, that's not ideal. Hopefully, in the next start, he can get it completely under wraps again and be back to the normal Lance McCullers we were seeing this season. That'd be ideal. And then the ninth happens, right? Ninth inning happens. They bring in Presley, and there's this weird bugaboo about bringing in a closer in a non-closing situation, and then they just completely wet the bed. And Ryan Presley comes in and gives a base runner immediately. First leadoff hitter gets on base. Great. And then up steps ye old man, the bull that we just traded, Abraham Toro. And what does he do? He hits a 2-run home run. Now, in defense of Ryan Presley, Tucker probably should have had that. And you might say, Weston, it was a jumping catch, and it would have been a home run robbery if he did. And I go, yeah, but it completely hit his glove. It bounced pretty much in and out of it. Tucker looked upset with it. Tucker should have had it. And yeah, it would have been an insane play, but it's an insane play that he should have had, because it wasn't like, it grazed his glove. It bounced out of his glove and for a home run. It was a bummer. And then right after that, then another pair gets on base. And now you're sitting at a point where there's 2 on, 1 out. It's the Mariners, and they're in danger of now walking us off. And you're in danger of blowing a 6-run lead, and the trees are speaking Vietnamese, and I'm losing my mind as I stare daggers into my TV screen. Now, thankfully, after that, Presley looks good, gets the last 2 outs of the game, makes a nice play running over to first to end it. And the Astros, I guess I'm happy about this fact, don't blow a 6-run lead tonight, which didn't happen last night, now did it? Now, overall, another fantastic outing by the offense. The pitching was not as good, but it wasn't bad by any means. Pitching lines, McCullers, 6 innings of work, 4 runs, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 6 hits, which, again, I think it's a touch misleading. I think he pitched better than that. I just think it's getting a little too sporadic with his splitter, and I think he might have to find a way to tone that back a little bit. Find a medium ground between just throwing a fastball and this crazy splitter. If he can find a movement that's right in between those, I think that would be perfect. Because tonight you'd see the movement on the splitter, and it's gorgeous to see, but it was too much movement where it was almost completely out of control. Again, I get that that's almost the point, but it was not working too well tonight. Again, I'm not concerned or hitting the brakes or pushing the panic button on Lance McCullers Jr. by any means right yet, but I am bringing that up because it's a little bit concerning. After that, Blake Taylor came in. He had a really good outing, 1 inning of work, no hits, no runs, no walks, and a strikeout. Ryan Stennett came in. He was good, an inning of work, no hits, no walks, no runs, but he also picked up a strikeout. Presley was not as great. 1 inning of work, 3 hits, pair of runs, a walk, no strikeouts, gave up the 2-run shot to Toro. Bit of an interesting evening, and I want to point something out with Presley, and just really a subject of all relief pitchers. ERAs with relief pitchers, I think even if you look at it and think it's a bit high, you should probably do a bit of research into it, because Presley is a perfect example. His ERA has gone up by about half a run because of 2 bad games, and to get it back down, it might take him a month. And my point being is, like, relief pitching is such a weird thing with ERA, because one bad outing where you give up 3 runs as like a starting pitcher, or 4 runs even as a starting pitcher, you can rebound from that relatively quickly, whereas with a reliever, you might have to grind at it for 3-4 weeks before you can get it back down. And that's just sort of a random tangent that I've wanted to do for a while now about relief pitching. Anyway, offensively tonight, fantastic. Altuve, 3-hit night. That was great. Brantley had a relatively awful night, which is very not Brantley-like. 0 for 5 with a pair of strikeouts. But again, it's Brantley. He's out of his mind this year. I'm not concerned or anything. Yuli had a pair of hits. Jordan was ridiculous tonight. 3 for 5 with a pair of runs, 3 RBIs. He was fantastic. Correa had a hit, so that's a positive. Tucker had a 2-hit game. Diaz had a 2-hit game with a run scored and an RBI. So he's back, which I think Diaz is a little bit underrated for the Astros. He's not incredible offensively, but he's always going to kind of just exist in whatever role you need to put him in, and he's not going to be necessarily like a liability at the plate. He might not be the best or anything, but he's never going to just completely be horrific there. And he had a very good night tonight, so that's a positive. Straw had a hit and a pair of RBIs, which is strange to say for Straw. Maldonado had a hit and an RBI, so he had a pretty decent evening. Overall, the Astros get a good win. They at least salvaged one of the games against Seattle, and tomorrow, thank God, it's a afternoon game. 3:40 tomorrow we play, which means I'm not going to be up till like 2 in the morning. It's already 2. I should say 3 in the morning again. Also, tomorrow is free agency for hockey in the NHL, so probably going to be a couple Rangers videos. Hopefully, there's going to be a couple Rangers videos tomorrow. And obviously, I'll do a recap after that. And if we make any good moves tomorrow, hopefully I'll talk about that as well. It's been an interesting 24 hours from yesterday to now. I feel a lot better. I think a lot of Astros fans probably do. Anyway, tomorrow we play at 3:40 Eastern, 2:40 Central. We are going to send out Jake Odorizzi. They're going to send out Yusei Kikuchi. He rolls in with a 3.95. Odorizzi rolls in with a 4.23, but again, that's a little deceiving. And I'll be here after that, or before it with trade news, or before that with Ranger signing news. There's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be doing in the next couple days. Anyway, that is all I have to say for the evening. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Astros.